إليك رجع السلام، فحينا ربنا بالسلام وادخلنا الجنة دارك دار السلام. اللهم ربنا أقسم لنا من خشيتك ما تحول بيننا وبين معصيتك، ومن طاعتك ما تبلغنا به رضوانك، ومن طاعتك ما تبلغنا به جنتك، ومن اليقين ما تهون به علينا مصائب الدنيا، ومتعنا بأسمائنا وقوتنا وأبصارنا ما أحييتنا، واجعله الوارثة منا، ولا تجعل ثارنا على من ظلمنا، وانصرنا على من عادانا، ولا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا، ولا تسلط علينا يا ربنا بذنوبنا من لا يخافك فينا ولا يرحمنا. اللهم ربنا انصر إخواننا في فلسطين، اللهم ربنا فرج عن إخواننا في فلسطين، وانصرهم على عدوك وعدوهم يا رب العالمين، فإنك أنت ملاذ فبك نلوذ، وأنت العياذ فبك نعوذ. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم، وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. Ya Allah, we are gathered here, Ya Allah, whereby we are remembering our brothers in Palestine, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we ask you to make it easy for them, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we ask you to make all their difficult challenges to become easy, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we ask you to hold them by their foreheads and steer them towards your love and your obedience, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we ask you from every good that the Nabi of Allah would ask you for, Ya Allah. And we ask you to protect us from every evil that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would seek protection from you, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, those who are in the position of oppressing, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, you are the mighty, you have the power, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, let your revenge be upon them, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we ask you to protect all the Muslims all over the world, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we ask you to save this dunya from all the evil elements that are coming out, Ya Allah. ببركته إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا محمد كما تحب وترضى بأن تصلي عليه بفضل سبحان ربك رب العزة أما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Jazakallah, Sheikh Salim. Okay, the first item is where the Pretoria Muslim Youth Brigade will be escorting our guests of honor. Can I ask the brigade to do their bid, please? Mr. Ibrahim, can you check if the brigade are ready to do that? Thank you. I think the brigade is still fine-tuning their bugles. Give them a moment or two, please. If I can get a cue from the brigade, how far are they? I must tell you, the brigade, I think they're in existence for close on to 80, 90 years. They've got a very, very interesting history. And the leader of the brigade, Brother Ibrahim Ibi Jafar, is already touching close to 78, 79. But I don't know, they didn't take that into consideration, and they've renamed the brigade Pretoria Muslim Youth Brigade. So I think they didn't realize that they've got Ibi Jafar with them. But nevertheless, he's young at heart. Okay, they're on their way. Okay, they'll be forming a guard of honor now, so the guests can walk in, please. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pretoria Muslim Youth Brigade. Round of applause, please. Like I said, Youth Brigade, but please, don't, Uncle Ibi Jafar and Fazl Khan, you guys are pushing the average up. But we wish you all the best, and may you grow from strength to strength. Okay, now the Pretoria Muslim Youth Brigade, when we had based on the concept of Madiba's Walk for Freedom, 2 weeks ago, they took the initiative. They took the initiative of collecting funds for the besieged people of Gaza. And in light of that, they've managed to raise 25,000 rands. 25,000 rands from the Pretoria Muslim Youth Brigade. So can I first ask Hafsa, Zainab, and come up here to receive the funds from the Pretoria Muslim Youth Brigade. And then can I ask Brother Ibi Jafar, also, is it Zahira? Yes, Zahra Hartzenberg and Zayal Ibrahim to come up to do the presentation, please. And Mariam, of course. Mariam Abu Baker. Okay, the reason why Zayal and Zahra are going to present the funds, apparently they're the guys. Congratulations, alhamdulillah. Okay, you can present it to the ladies, please. Come.
So much.
Can we have a tune?
Thank you very much.
Fazal,
What is that, your speech?
oh, are you going to give a little talk?
Thank you so much.
How many hours is the speech?
2 minutes.
Oh, okay. Is this a speech?
Yes.
Cut it short.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the most gracious, the most merciful. Over the last few weeks, our whole world has turned around as we helplessly witnessed the massacre of our brothers and sisters and our beautiful angels of Palestine. The last few weeks have taught me so much about life. It has taught me to be more grateful and appreciate the small things around me. Whereas the people of Gaza had to leave their homes and just take refuge somewhere, not knowing if they will make it till the next morning. No food, water, or electricity. They had to write their names on their hands so their bodies could be identified. All while the whole world watches, some helplessly and some deliberately. The truth is, we wouldn't be able to survive one day like the people of Gaza have survived for years. Even when the whole Gaza shook, their iman didn't. We hear them saying, Hasbullah wa ni'mal wakil. Sufficient is Allah for us, and He is the best disposer of affairs. We are not fleeing Palestine. Palestine is freeing us. The people of Palestine are truly the people of Jannah. In view of what I just said, the Pretoria Muslim Youth Brigade undertook a fundraising drive to raise funds for the people of Palestine. We paraded in and around Lodram and Iraqmia collecting money from the community, and we wanted to place a record of our sense of gratitude to the community for digging deep into their pockets and supporting our funds drive. We want to hand over the sum of 25,000 that was raised through the generosity of our community, your organization. We pray that the small amount will help the suffering of the people of Palestine in whatever way it can. With it, we send our du'as. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it easy for all and ease the suffering of the innocent people of Palestine and Gaza. Ameen. Jazakallah khair. Free, free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Palestine will be free from the river to the sea. Brothers and sisters, remember, this is those people. And this is the collective. That's why Dr. Gilbert is here, our other guests are here, because this is about humanity and the safety and security and justice and equality for the people of Palestine. Thank you very, very much. Are you going to play a tune going out? Okay. Thank you, Brigade. Thank you, Pretoria Muslim Youth Brigade. Warm applause. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, as the Pretoria Muslim Youth Brigade march into the distance, we will start our program formally, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all of you. Peace and blessings be on all of you. On behalf of the South African Friends of Palestine, the Pretoria Muslim Women's United, and Salam Media, a sincere welcome to our honorable guest, Dr. Mads Gilbert. It is truly an honor and a privilege to host you this afternoon. Also, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our other guests. And we have Councillor Bassam, I don't know if he's here already, from the Palestinian Embassy. I think he's coming in now. That's Kauthar, that's not Councillor Bassam. Okay. Also, Pamela Ngobani. Sincere welcome to you, Pamela. Where are you, Pamela? Please wave. Thank you, Pamela. Catherine, welcome. You know what, with these glasses, I can only read, I can't see far. Unfortunately. This is after my cataract operation, so it's gone a bit mixed up. Nevertheless, we are expecting the DSG of the ANC, Nombula Mokanyana. She'll be here shortly, but nevertheless, when she walks in, then we'll welcome. But the first item is we have, Mariam, do you have Asana there with you? Asana Mansour, 5 years old. And she's a student at Brainy Bratz, and she's got a poem to recite for the children of Palestine. Hasana? Oh, you want to take it off?
Shouldn't you?
I think we should keep this. Oh, yeah, almost. Okay. You can hold it, my darling.
To the children of Palestine, I'm a 5-year-old South African, and I want you to know I didn't forget about you. I see your pain. I see your suffering. I know the world doesn't care, but we care. Nelson Mandela said, South Africa will not be truly free until Palestine is free. The world is not blind anymore. We all see you. We will not stop until we hear your laughter across the world. Free, free Palestine, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
Thank you, Asana. I don't think she needs a mic. But our future is in good hands, alhamdulillah. The struggle continues. Okay, our first speaker for this afternoon's program is Dr. Professor Akhtar from the Islamic Medical Association, the Tshwane chapter. Most of the speakers that will be coming up, we have time constraints because we have come here to listen to Dr. Meds Gilbert. So basically, these will be messages of solidarity for the people of Palestine. Professor Akhtar.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all of you. I think my message is just simple. It's just that we'd like to welcome Dr. Meds Gilbert on behalf of the Islamic Medical Association to Pretoria. We appreciate, I think he's one of those doctors that are truly in the same spirit that we hope to inculcate in all our younger members to dedicate their lives and their time towards the service of mankind. And I think he's one of those epitomes of that program. There are many of us amongst the groups here that also would like to emulate him. We have many of our senior members here. We've got Dr. Madni Nur Muhammad here in the front row, who for many years had also dedicated his life to the IMA and to its causes. Many of our doctors have been previously to Gaza to support them. We had Brother Khalil Mishal from Hamas who had recruited some of our members to go and do programs in Gaza. We've had them doing teaching there as well. The Islamic Medical Association is still quite involved in raising funds. We've got our foundation called the Baytun Nur Foundation, which is raising funds at the moment for Gaza. Alhamdulillah, we're close to collecting 3 million for medical relief. As we know, unfortunately, the government of Israel is targeting the healthcare facilities in particular in the Gaza Strip. And health is a fundamental right of every human being. And we cannot accept that the very fundamental right is being torn from underneath the feet of the Palestinian people. Babies are meant to suffer. Hospitals are bombed, which is a totally inhumane act. No matter how much they can criticize other people of being barbaric, this is the epitome of barbarism. But the people of Palestine persevere. We need to persevere in our support for them, and we will do as much as we can from this little corner of earth where we cannot do much to influence them directly, but whatever we can manage, we will try. And on behalf of the Islamic Medical Association, I'd once again like to thank Dr. Gilbert for giving up his time to come to South Africa to support the programs and also for all the humanitarian work that he's been doing. I'd like to thank the organizers for inviting IMA to give you a few words, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all your efforts, bless all the efforts of all the Muslims who have united together for once to support our brothers and sisters in Islam and may this continue in the future. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah, Dr. Professor Akhtar. Be assured that we're going to knock on your doors. Normally we consult you and you charge us fees. However, this time we're going to take some fees from you for the people of Palestine. So open your hearts, please. And we know, we trust our doctors, alhamdulillah. Okay, seeing that there's a slight change in program, because the minister hasn't arrived yet. She was otherwise engaged, but she is in the precincts, of course, of Erasmia. So I'd like to take this opportunity to call Nkamisile Pamela Ngobani. Now, before she comes up, let me just give a short bio on Pamela. She's somebody that's extremely interesting, and I really want to hear what she's got to say. Now, Pamela is a former Christian Zionist. There's a dichotomy here. Zionists, you normally associate it with Jews. Not our cousins, the Jews, but Zionist Jews. Here we have Christian Zionists, and this is for another platform, but the two don't gel, but in this instance, they definitely do, because they have a common goal, and that is to ethnically cleanse the Palestinians. Bottom line, there's nothing more to it. Okay, now Pamela, born-again Christian, who had the misfortune, in inverted commas, to be a blessing, of course. Why? Because she used her own mind and her own heart to seek the truth. But she was exposed to Christian Zionist TV programs. This formulated her initial mindset about the situation in occupied Palestine. Pamela was hired at that particular time as a general manager of the South African Friends of Israel, a Christian Zionist organization that is subscribed and associated with the South African Zionist Federation. And after that, of course, she began to question, we all have a human heart. I don't know if the Israeli terrorist force has that, but speaking for all of us, we have a human heart. And then she had a change of heart, and she'll tell you why. Pamela, can you come up, please?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum to everyone and to my brothers and sisters in Palestine. I'm very honored to be here to speak. I think that generally, when one is given an opportunity to show solidarity with fellow human beings who are suffering the kind of oppression that the Palestinian people are suffering and have been suffering, it's a great honor, and alhamdulillah, I thank God for that honor. I became a Christian Zionist, like my brother KK was saying, through watching television programming on Christian television. Initially, I started watching these programs because I had been born again as a Christian and I was trying to understand who Jesus was. And these programs were about his Hebrew Jewish roots, about the Holy Land, but it was Christian Zionist programming, which basically convinced me that as a Christian, to be a fully fledged Christian, I had to support Israel and the Jewish people. They also made it clear that it was Christianity that was to blame for the Holocaust and for all the different pogroms, for the Crusades, but they didn't tell anyone who was watching that the Crusades were also against the Muslim people, not just the Jews. So Islam was hidden from the viewer. And this is because Islamophobia is one of the pillars of Zionism, both Christian and Jewish Zionism. So I have always been a very vocal person because I believe that I was put here on this planet to make the world a better place. However, I was not directed properly. And so I found myself a Christian Zionist, sincerely believing that I had to support the Jewish people's return, believing that I was supporting the chosen people of God. It was only when this new government of Israel was sworn in December last year that I started to question what Israel actually stood for. Up until then, I believed it was the place where the Jewish people could be safe, to be Jews, that they've been suffering so much discrimination, and finally they had a place to be safe. But seeing how this government of Netanyahu repealed the Disengagement Act, which was the underpinning clause of the Oslo Accords to provide for a two-state solution, I just couldn't reconcile that to myself. And I posted a tweet about it, and my boss at the Zionist Federation told me that it was an inappropriate tweet because it didn't reflect the position of the organization. So I said to him, well, it should reflect the position of the organization because I myself am advocating for the South African government and the African Union to have better ties with Israel based on the fact that it is committed to a two-state solution. And so this completely undermined everything that I was trying to achieve. Nonetheless, I then said to them as well that beyond the two-state solution, these people in this government are completely anti-Palestinian and are racist, and they're also anti-Christian. So how do we reconcile this? So I said to them, in order for me to be credible as a Black Christian woman, I would like for the South African Friends of Israel organization to go in the direction of promoting peace dialogues between the Palestine supporters and the Israel supporters. They weren't interested, but I'm not the kind of person who takes no for an answer. So I said to myself, let me just do my own research. I will write a proposal and I will present it to them and convince them that this is an incredible path for us to take, because we could not support Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir. In order to obviously have these dialogues, I had to understand what the opposition was on about, in their own words. So you must understand that the Zionist propaganda machine is extremely hardworking, very prolific, very powerful, and it encompasses a whole lot of narratives. So when you, as a Christian Zionist, ask a Zionist, what about the Jews that don't support Israel? What about them? They say, no, those are self-hating Jews, and we've always had a problem with self-hating Jews. Remember in the desert, those Jews that opposed Moses, that's who we're dealing with. Remember Karl Marx, he hated Jews. That's who we're dealing with. Don't worry about those self-hating Jews. Zionism is akin to Judaism, and you're on the right side of this. Okay. Then you ask them, what about the two-state solution? What about the Palestinian Authority? Don't the Palestinians have a right to a state? No. If the Palestinians wanted a state of their own, they would have had it by now. The corruption of the Palestinian Authority is to blame. Organizations like Hamas divert international aid into terrorist activities, which they should have been using to create the institutions of state for a Palestinian state. If they really wanted peace, they would have a peaceful solution by now. Israel has been pushing for peace. It's the Palestinians who are a problem. So they produce a lot of information to counter any sort of sympathy you might have for the Palestinian cause. So I had to go completely outside of that framework, which I must also add, the South African media feeds us the Zionist framework. If the South African media actually taught South African people the truth about Palestine, just the truth, not any sort of pro-Palestinian position, just the truth. This country, Africa as well, and pretty much the whole world, if the media was just telling the truth, would be on the side of the Palestinians. So in my reading of the Palestinian narrative, going to people like Hanan Ashwari, Ramzi Baroud, Gada Karmi, Ilan Pape, Avi Schleim, I started to realize that what the Palestinian supporters in BDS, PSC were saying was actually true. So, much to my horror, I had to now accept that I had been supporting the wrong side. I had a moment of cognitive dissonance, which manifested itself physically. Like I actually got sick. This was like February this year. And yeah, it was a very difficult time to realize that not only had I been lied to, but I was teaching other people these horrific lies about the Palestinian people, very dehumanizing lies. And I also realized later on with more research that, like so many Christians, I had been duped into promoting colonization and imperialism, because Christianity has been one of the main vehicles for the colonization of the world, of the global South. Also, you find organizations like the IFP, for example, who are very much pro-Israel. And these organizations and Black people like myself, Black Christians, were very useful for Zionism, because they can say, look, we've got Black people, Black Christians supporting us. We're not racist. Israel is not an apartheid state. What are you talking about? But what I realized from that just like the president of the DRC, who doesn't mind children being forced into slavery in the cobalt mines, there are people in the global South who are not necessarily opposed to colonization. They're just opposed to not being part of the power structure of the colonial system. And so this rude awakening that I had translated into me deciding that I have to tell the truth as a way of repenting for what I had been doing to be an accomplice to the crimes of the Israeli state. And so I wrote about my experience, why I left Christian Zionism. Obviously, I had to quit my job in South African Friends of Israel, and then I wrote. And what gave me courage in taking this stance vocally, because I know how vicious the Zionists can be, I saw it firsthand, was just realizing the shocking child abuse that Zionism is inflicting on Palestinian children. And as a mother myself, as a person who believes in Ubuntu, we are all people because and through other people, I've decided that I must take a stand in favor of the children of Palestine and in favor of the children of the world who deserve to live in a world where there is truth, where there is peace, and where there is justice, because God is a God of justice, and what is happening to the Palestinians cannot be supported by anyone who claims to believe in God. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. Pamela, don't go. We have something for you. We want to make you famous, more famous than what you are. Okay. Mariam? Thank you. a token, a gift from us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you look beautiful, Pamela. Really. Viva, viva Palestine! Viva Pamela! Okay, guys. Thank you. I saw Naeem Patelia just now. He just went out, okay. Oh, you got him, okay. All right. Our next speaker, our honorable councillor for Ward 61, and also the executive member of the South African Friends for Palestine. And he would like to send a message of solidarity to the people of Palestine. Naeem?
Dr. Gilbert, I think we need to warm up this room a bit. I see the people are dead here. Say after me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oppression no more. 5, 6, 7, 8. Israel is an apartheid state. Biden, don't you hide. You're responsible for the genocide. I'm not standing here today as the ward councillor of Ward 61. I'm standing here as a member of the community, like every one of you today. I prepared a speech, but before I got here, I came across a beautiful article written by Dr. Faisal Mohammed. Most of you know today is voter registration day. And unfortunately, in the minority communities, it is very difficult for us to get people to come out to register. So when it comes to election time, we find in communities of 70, 80,000 people, we get 4,000, 5,000 voters. I want to read something that he's written with regards to this, the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. He says, if you don't vote correct in next year's election, the Zionists will surely rule South Africa. There are dozens of extremely good reasons for one to register to vote. However, now there is another very good reason to register to vote. We are not immune from what is happening in Gaza and occupied Palestine. The unapologetic and unbridled support of a few South African political parties for continuing massacre of the Palestinians, namely the Democratic Alliance, Action SA, ACDP, Freedom Front Plus, Build One South Africa, and COPE, is another extremely important reason for you to register to vote. It is quite clear that should the Moonshot-backed alliance of these parties come into power and form a new government after 2024, there will be a 100% reversal of our present foreign policy towards Palestine, support for war on terror in its different forms, and increased Islamophobia. We will see a Zionist-aligned foreign policy come into effect. The support of the present South African government for Palestine cause will be reversed. The DA coalition government will stop all prosecutions of South African citizens who go and fight in Israel to kill Palestinians, and will undoubtedly allow more South Africans, Zionists, to go to Israel to commit war crimes. The DA coalition government will facilitate more transfer of funds and arms from South Africa to Israel. The DA coalition government will increase trade with Israel and increase importation and usage of Israeli software to spy on us. The DA coalition government will hasten the recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, support more land grabs, and ensure organizations like the AU become Zionist-friendly. The DA coalition government will make it more difficult for pro-Palestinian organizations and speakers to come to South Africa, and limit, if not stop, Palestinian organizations from coming and working in South Africa. The DA government will put barriers to Palestinians entering our country and make it difficult for South Africans to send funds for Palestinians, even humanitarian aid. The DA coalition government will no doubt enact legislation similar to laws in Europe, criticizing Israel and Zionism as equivalent to anti-Semitism and hate speech, and use this to stop any anti-Zionist activity in South Africa, making us criminals in our own country. We do not doubt that spying on mosques, Muslim NGOs, pro-Palestinian NGOs, monitoring of collection of funds will increase under these Zionist-influenced political parties. The SABC will become just another CNN and BBC. All of the very heavy and extreme use of SAP's Metro Police and heavily armed private security companies by the DA in Cape Town on the 12th of November against Muslims and pro-Palestinian supporters is a clear indication for what this coalition will do when they come into power if they come into power next year. Any benefit of any doubt should have anyone had about our democratic rights and liberal values being respected by the DA have now been cleared. Just like in occupied Palestine, for the DA and his partners, some have much more rights and value than Muslims and pro-Palestinian supporters. Dr. Faisal Suleiman. Respected friends, I ask you, leave you with only two things. One, when the Ukraine war started, John Steenhuisen, the leader of the Democratic Alliance, rushed at the first opportunity while a war was taking place between Russia and Ukraine. He rushed to Ukraine to support the Ukraine people. Why didn't he rush to Palestine? When the Ukraine war started, they lit Table Mountain up with the flag of Ukraine. Where is the flag of our brothers in Palestine? I have 1 minute left before I conclude. As you drive in Lodium, you will be proud of what we've achieved. We are bringing Clover to its knees. Our contribution as the community, our contribution as the community of Lodium is we're going to make sure that business suffers. We will put as much pressure as we can. And thank you to the ladies. You've put really pressure. We've got a lot of reports from different supermarkets. Clover sales is down. The Clover rep was here yesterday, and in front of him, he took our photographs as well as the photographs of all the billboards we've put up. Thank you, and let's continue to boycott Clover. Thank you. Dr. Meds Gilbert, when you come up, this is a scarf given from the Palestinian embassy to you from the ambassador of Palestine. So, this is mine.
Okay. Thank you, Naeem. Sorry? Naeem, we have something for you as well, please.
When everyone finishes speaking, just
Yeah.
Jazakallah. Thank you so much. Just talking about appreciation.
Let me put it on your neck. Thank you, Naeem. I think he was canvassing for votes. Okay. Up next, we have Bassem Al-Husseini, the counselor from the Embassy of Palestine. Can you please come up? Is she here? She's looking so young, I didn't recognize her. DSG, deputy, our deputy is our beloved deputy. You know, when did we meet, Naeem? Thursday. I still see you look grand in that dress. Believe you me. Thank you so much.
Viva South Africa, viva. Viva Palestine, viva. Dear Comrade Mvula Mukiani, Deputy Secretary General of ANC, Dr. Madus Gilbert, all brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. On behalf the Ambassador of State of Palestine, allow me to express our sincere appreciation to Assalam Media and Al Ghazali and Africa and Friends of Palestine for organizing the meaningful and important solidarity event today. I also extend our sincere appreciation for Dr. Madus Gilbert for his role to exposing the Israeli policies toward our oppressed people, especially in Gaza Strip. Dear brothers, sisters, comrades, Netanyahu said he will erase Gaza from the face of the earth, follows of 16 years of inhuman siege on Gaza Strips. Recently, he ordered his army for more escalation, not escalation, in the West Bank against our people, as well as his last speech in the General Assembly. He showed the map of peace in Middle East without Palestine. The Minister of Agriculture of Israel, the former chief of Israeli Mossad, said that Israel is committing a new Nakba in Gaza. The Israeli Finance Minister, Smotrich, issued a new plan called Israel Decisive Plan, which gives Palestinians 3 options between stay without any rights, immigration, or killing, since 3 months. And now he advised the Palestinian for voluntary immigration. The Minister of Heritage of Israel said only solution in Gaza is to use nuclear weapon, and in fact, they already bombed Gaza with what is equal to more than 2 nuclear weapons till today. Dear comrades, brothers, sisters, in this round of war, the Zionist army and the settler groups killed more than 12,200 Palestinians, among of them 206 in West Bank, and wounded more than 30,700, among of them 2,700 in West Bank. The number of displaced civilian in Gaza more than 1 million point 500 thousand, of course. And they destroy more than 2,000 properties, schools, mosque, the church as well, the hospitals, as you see. Okay. Also they committed more massacres in Jabalia twice. Today also they committed massacre in the Al-Fakhura school in Jabalia. Before they destroyed the Babbitt's Hospital, the Greek Orthodox Church. As you note today, the fall of Al-Shifa Complex Hospital, the Indonesian hospital, and the Al-Quds Hospital, and today they bombed partially the Jordanian hospital. This is not victory into the hand of occupying army, but rather is the fall of humanity and shame that international community cannot protect the international law. While the Israeli army with dozens of settler groups like Price Tag, La Hava, and other organizations still attacking our cities, villages, refugees camp every day in the West Bank. And this is continue the series of uprooting our people from their land since first Nakba. We appeal for the international community to put pressure on Israel to stop barbaric war against our people and to label Israel as a apartheid state, including imposing all kinds of sanctions on Israel. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, the President of South Africa, the government, the parliament, the alliance, ANC, Communist Party, COSATU, with all the progressive political parties and the solidarity movement who have demonstrated unwavering support for Palestinian people during this current round of genocide. Lastly, I special thanks for Honorable Mustafa Dorsat for his resigning from Action SA Party. Thank you. Amandla.
Thank you. Qasim, 1 minute. I'm going to give you a gift. I'll take this off and I'll give you another. He's got one. Okay. Thank you, Comrade Basim. Okay, now I have pleasure in calling upon Catherine Constantinidis. I don't know, I can't pronounce that name properly. She can only be described, this is what they told me, as a social cohesion activist. Catherine serves on the board of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation and the Matthew Gonive School of Leadership and Governance, and also the Sahrawi Commission. You still know, you do know, and you realize that Sahrawi is still under occupation. I don't have to spell that out to you. Maybe Comrade Nomvula will highlight that, I'm not sure. But nevertheless, let me take the opportunity of reminding you this. And of course, Catherine has participated in many campaigns with the Nelson Mandela Foundation as well. I have pleasure in calling upon Catherine, please.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Catherine Constantinides, and you said it perfectly. Thank you so much. It is really an honor and a privilege to address you today and to be here. This is going to be a moment in time that will forever be a scar on the conscience of our very humanity. How can it be that in the year 2023, when we have just come out of a global pandemic where the world was shut down, nations, leaders allowed for that shutdown to happen, and we are seeing the largest catastrophe and genocide of our time, all of which happens in the palm of our hands because of the access to technology that we have. The genocide that we see playing out is absolutely horrifying, and we need to stand together in solidarity to do everything we can from where we are with what we have. As South Africans, we don't only stand on the shoulders of great giants who form part of our history and freedom, but we also stand on the shoulders of those who have never been to South Africa, those that only heard of the apartheid regime and stood in solidarity internationally with us from corners of the world, calling on their own governments and countries to ensure that there were sanctions and that pressure was put on the government of the time. Thus, we need to do the same and follow suit and ensure that every single day we do not tire. We dig deep within ourselves and find a way to continue. Because the most horrifying thing is that for almost 45 days, we have seen an absolute tragedy play out. And there has been no decisive international leadership. We should not only be calling for a humanitarian ceasefire, there should have been a call for a ceasefire in completion. It cannot be that this is taking place at this moment in time when we have history that continues to repeat itself. I'm very proud of the work that I'm honored to do with the Sahrawi people of Western Sahara. I've spent the best part of the past 10 years working in the Sahrawi refugee camps in southwest Algeria because I'm no longer able to access Morocco in order to go to Western Sahara because of the occupation. But what I want to draw your attention to is that the occupation of Western Sahara is by another African country, Morocco. It is a brother state that occupies and colonizes the people of Western Sahara. Now, the similarities are not just similar, they are exactly the same. When people decide to go on luxurious travel destination holidays to Morocco, they continue to fuel the occupation. By buying Moroccan products, many of which are actually in fact grown in occupied Western Sahara, again, we are fueling the occupation that continues. Almost half a century and the Sahrawi people remain almost forgotten. My work with them remains my life's greatest work because in my lifetime they will return home to a free and democratic Western Sahara. Now, the Moroccan occupation has done a great thing, and they have managed to silence the world in order to keep a black curtain over Western Sahara. Now, in many ways, the same has happened with the media, doing the same on the issue of Palestine and Israel, because this issue is not spoken about. The narrative that we hear comes from a specific vantage point. But what do? We sit in the lap of our luxury at home, and unfortunately, we armchair critics. How many of us scratch at the surface of a news headline or bulletin that we hear on the way to work on the radio? How many of us actually understand what truly is going on because we go out and we do our own information? We do our own homework, we do our research. Unfortunately, not enough. We need to ensure that this issue and this moment in time continues to be at the top of the agenda. We must put pressure that our media houses continue to cover this as extensively as they did 40 days ago, because the Palestinian people need our solidarity. They need to know that there are glimmers of hope and light in corners of the world where people are supporting them. They need the opportunity to be able to stand up, find hope, and fight their lives away each and every day. And we do not know what that is like. To the extent of what they're going through, we need to at least solidify our actions, be strong, and move forward. What I would like to say is also that the incredible organizations that are doing extensive work, and many have been, not just now, not just since the last 40 days, but for decades, for the last 40 years. There are organizations in South Africa that have continued to stand with Palestine and will continue to do so until justice prevails, because the Palestinian people will win. We need to remember that human rights are for all of us. We cannot allow that we become so numb to what is going on that we forget that human rights actually have a place in our society. We need to search for the humanity in one another. We need to search for the strength of solidarity. We need to be supporting each other and galvanizing now more than ever. Let us not judge each other and judge what one community has done versus what another community is doing. Let us amplify what each community is doing across the country in different spheres. Public meetings like this, tournaments, paddle tournaments, there are fundraisers. I've been to 3 events this morning already. We need to amplify and support each and every person doing something, because we're actually all on the same side. So let us not allow that we become disorientated because one person's trying to outdo the next and somebody else wants to outdo the next. Let us all be there to support one another. Let us be there to give strength to a people that are fighting and will fight for themselves, but need us as a pillar of strength, hope, and light. Let us not forget that humanity must play a role. This is not about religion. And I stand here in front of you today to remind you of that. I stand here in support of the Palestinian people. I stand here, and each and every morning, I've mentioned this on air with Salam Media earlier this week, and I said we cannot forget that we must continue to pray. We must continue to ensure that our faith is stronger now than ever before. Why? If we need a reason, the Palestinian people have stood in faith and continue to fight because of the strength from their faith. And we must do the same. When we become uncomfortable, when we become uncertain, we've got to draw strength from their storybook. If we are passionate about anything, if there's anything that we truly want, we have to fight for it with all that we have. We have to make sure that we do all we can to be all in or be all out. We need to stay in our lane, but at the same time, we must ensure that we are continuing to strengthen using whatever it may be. Maybe it is showing up here today. Maybe it's Uncle Mohammed in Lenasia who's selling the little beads, and he is doing a fantastic job. And many of you may have those little beaded bracelets. Let us do what we can with what we have from where we are to support this cause, so that in our lifetime, and inshallah, sooner rather than later, we see a complete ceasefire for the people of Palestine. Amandla! Jazakallah.
That you do for us. Thank you. May you be blessed always. Thank you so much. Thank you. She wants to take a picture.
Thank you, Catherine. Zainab is whispering something. Can I just go to her, please? Okay, I now have the good pleasure, but before I call Comrade Nomvula Mokenyane to the podium, let me just remind all of you that our President Ramaphosa, was one of the very few leaders, heads of state of a country, to call for the ICC to prosecute the Israeli government. Warm applause. Really, you need guts to do that in the World Forum. You really do. And we received a message this morning from Gaza to say that, please, we want to tell you, the South African government, Sister Nombola, the South African government, that you have Palestinian blood in you. We are all Palestinians. I have the great pleasure now of calling DSG to come up and address you. Amandla! Viva Palestine, viva!
Amandla, long live the fighting spirit of Yasser Arafat. Long live. Long live the fighting spirit of Yasser Arafat. Long live. Thank you very much, Program Director. Good evening, comrades, fellow South Africans, ladies and gentlemen. As it has been indicated, my name is Nomvula Mokonyane. I'm the first Deputy Secretary General of the African National Congress. I'm here with another member of the National Executive Committee, Comrade Nongceba Mhlaule, who's there at the back. I'm also accompanied by the Regional Secretary of the African National Congress, Comrade George Machila, right there at the back. We also have the head of the ANC Youth League here in Tshwane, the coordinator, Comrade Ongkhuputse. On behalf of the National Executive Committee of the ANC, led by President Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, we were quite humbled to count on you, to trust you, and to believe you that in all that we are doing and our own position as the African National Congress on the issue of Palestine is that it is not just an ANC position, but it is a position that enjoys the support of millions and millions of South Africans, including you yourselves who are here today. It gives us more courage and conviction to appreciate that indeed, as Comrade Nelson Mandela has said, that the struggle of the people of South Africa and the struggle of the people of Palestine are intertwined. And that our own freedom, the political freedom that we enjoy today, is incomplete until the people of Palestine are free. We are not reacting because of the last 40 days. I always, Program Director, use myself to personify where we come from. Some of us joined the struggle at the very tender age of 15. Today I am 60 years, but the first protest I joined in solidarity with the people of Palestine was when I was 16 years old. What it therefore means is that ours has been a consistent call and a consistent call to action. That today, all of us, we can see the world rising, calling on an immediate ceasefire now, as well as all of us, the ANC in particular, calling on an investigation to prosecute the Israeli apartheid government, Netanyahu, the president, for the criminal offenses that he has committed, and the worst offense against humanity being genocide. We believe as the NC, on behalf of many of you, South Africans, peace-loving South Africans, that it is a correct thing to call on the ICC to attend to the head of Israeli, including other authorities in Israel, who have pronounced that there must be nuclear bombing, who have gone out to bomb a hospital, bombing people in prayer, and actually making children orphans. That what we need to do now as people of the world is to call Netanyahu and make sure that the ICC prosecute him on crimes against humanity. The second thing is that, as I have said, from the age of 16, when our own elders, our own leaders from Azadville, from Kagiso, joined others to come and picket against the apartheid Israeli government through their embassy. From that time when I was 16 until today when I'm 60, they've never received a single memorandum from us peace-loving South Africans. And therefore, their presence in South Africa does not add value to build humanity. Their presence cannot be about economic exploitation. Their presence cannot be about investments and not be about strengthening people-to-people relationships and ensuring that they also listen to us as they represent their government. But we are not surprised. What they are doing to us is exactly what they are doing to the people of Palestine. That's exactly what they are doing to the United Nations. And hence, all of us in the ANC are saying, out of this genocidal actions that we have seen meted against the people of Palestine, we refuse to be pushed to be the ones who must condemn Hamas. We refuse because they themselves know what has forced Hamas to do what it has done. Hamas didn't emerge 40 days ago. We need to take it back to them because 60 days ago, 60 months ago, 60 years ago, they have been killing innocent children going to school. They've been killing innocent women going to work, accompanying their children, working in the fields where the products are now brought into our own country. And hence, we also are saying, let us talk about the boycott of the Israeli products because those are the products that come from the occupied territories. We have to look at that and refuse to touch products that are dripping with the blood of the children of Palestine. The fourth thing that we are saying as the African National Congress is that it is time that we show even the United States of America that a minority can never rule over a majority. We know it ourselves. That the United Nations must be a United Nations of nations and not a United Nations with an exception of the United States of America being the bigger nation. It cannot be. And hence, together with you, we do believe that it is correct for the ANC to say, we need to reform all these multilateral institutions, including the United Nations itself. We need to deal with the United Nations Security Council. This is the call from the ANC to say, in that United Nations Security Council, even developing nations and nations from the global south must have a say, and no one must have a veto power. This is what we need. And hence, as the ANC, we have been part of a movement to create other platforms to engage in the multilateral platforms such as BRICS. It is our own agenda that our BRICS relationships must not only be about the economy and inclusive growth, but it must also be about the geopolitics in the world. And hence, through Comrade President Ramaphosa, we have seen him crisscrossing the world, mobilizing everybody, including the main BRICS parties, who have come out and said there is a need to deal with this issue of Palestine once and for all. There can never be any other opportunity to resolve the issues of Palestine. In South Africa, they killed Chris Hani. And when the nation wanted to rise against those who killed Chris Hani, it took Comrade Nelson Mandela to tell the apartheid regime that we need a date for elections, allow South Africans for self-determination. And hence, we had a date for elections. We want to say to all of you, let's all rally behind the call of the African National Congress that says, here and no more further. We need a genuine ceasefire. We need a genuine ceasefire, and we need to afford the people of Palestine to determine their own destiny. They should do that. We need to call for a genuine ceasefire and ensure also that Israel is held responsible for everything that has happened, including the killings in Israel. It is them who must be held accountable. We're calling on the Arab League. We're calling on the people of the Middle East. We are working through the African Union to ensure that as the United Nations is working on this side, we also mobilize everybody. But come back here in South Africa. This is the moment. This is the moment. Many of us must never be swayed by those who want to make themselves representatives of the Jewish community. They don't represent the Jewish community. They are a body, but not a body that is representative of every South African person of Jewish origin. Because they don't represent Joe Slovo. They don't represent Ronnie Casserols. They don't represent Jeremy Cronin. But also, as my comrade sister has said, it's not a religious war, this one. Christians, Muslims, everybody, we have to be united. We have to be united because this is a crime against humanity. We have to be united because this is a crime against humanity. People, if we have to take sides, it is time to take sides. Therefore, you South Africans, beware of the wedge drivers and those who want to remain comfortable on this side and that side when those that are disadvantaged have no voice. It's either you are with them or you are not with them. It is that kind of a position that we must take. Let us pray for peace, but let us act for peace. We must act in different ways, and we must also appreciate that there are those who want to take us back. Anyone who supports apartheid Israel here in this country is someone who is against Nelson Mandela. You can't embrace Nelson Mandela but stand with apartheid Israel. You can't say Madiba is your world icon and you kill innocent children in Palestine. You can't say you embrace Nelson Mandela and you continue to say they have a right to eliminate a nation. No nation must be eliminated whilst you South Africans have been helped by other nations of the world to have your political freedom. It's time we stand together without shame, without regret, and say, all we want is genuine ceasefire. All we want is genuine ceasefire. All we want is for Netanyahu to appear in the ICC. All we want is to open up the humanitarian corridor. And all we want is to allow Palestinians to have permanent and everlasting peace. Amandla!
Thank you, DSG, for that very, very strong message and so a form of support for the people of Palestine. Okay, before I ask Salam Media to take over and to call Dr. Gilberts, we have one fundraising event which will take 5 minutes. So please bear with us. And I think put your hands in your pocket. So we're going to do an auction, and I'll ask Zainab and Mr. Kauthar to do the duty of auctioning this beautiful hand-painted. Zainab, you'll have to describe this. I don't know how to describe it.
So we don't have the bag. Fill out the bag. Okay.
We need eyes. You got eyes on the ground.
Yeah. But you must stand. Good day, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Zainab Sitar. Okay, we have this beautiful painting painted by Sister Shanaz Suleiman, and it has a lot of heart and soul put into this painting. It is Alif Lam Mim, and it's painted by hand by Sister Shanaz Suleiman. So Brother Kauthar will actually start the bid. I need you to dig deep into your pockets. I know there's no hole in your pockets, so dig very deep. Okay. Oh, and we have, along the stage, you can see a whole lot of succulents that was made with the martyrs of all the children in Gaza from the date the first bombing took place, from the 7th of October to date. These are just a few. We'd like you to pledge for each child, please, if you can. Our pledge forms will come out. But first, we're going to do the auction. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. We are moving on to a very exciting item of the show or the presentations of this evening, and that is the auction. We hope that you're going to dig deep in your pockets, and of course, remember that all of this is going to Palestine. So we're going to start the bidding off at an amazing price of 3,000 Rand. That's 3,000 Rand, ladies and gentlemen. 3,000 Rand, 3,000 Rand. Do I have any takers? 3,000 Rand. Come on, it's a beautiful painting. Alif Lam Mim. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. 3,000 Rand. 3,000 rand. We've got 3,000 rand. 3,000 rand. Can we get a 4? Can we get 4,000? 4,000, 4,000. We got a 4,000 rand. Can I get a 5? 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. Beautiful painting. 5,000. There we go. 6,000. Wow. Can I get a 7? 7,000, 7,000, 7,000, 7,000. Anyone with the 7,000? 7,000. And we've got a 7,000, ladies and gentlemen. Can I get a 8,000? 8,000. Wow, it's going up. Let's get a 10,000. Can we get a 10,000? 10,000, ladies and gentlemen. 10,000. 10,000. We got a 10,000 over there. Can I get 11? 11,000 for this very beautiful painting. All proceeds towards Palestine. The children are suffering. We can do a little bit of our part. 11,000, ladies and gentlemen. 11,000. 11. There we go. We've got 11. Do I have a 12? We've got a 12. Amazing. Can I get a 13? 13,000, 13,000, 13,000. Come on. 13,000. Fantastic. Do I have a 14? 14,000, 14,000, 14,000. Look at this amazing painting, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a 14,000. Do I have a 15? Do I have a 15,000? Do I have a 15? 15,000, 15,000. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. 15,000. Do I have a 15,000? Come on, dig deep into your pockets, ladies and gentlemen. 15,000, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a 15,000. Do I have 16? 16,000, 16,000, 16,000. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Dig deep in your pockets. Beautiful painting, amazing cause. Do I have a 16? Do I have a 16,000? Do I have a 16,000? Are we settling at 15,000? Come on, 16,000, ladies and gentlemen. I have a 16,000. There we go. That's 16,000. Do I have a 17? Come on, let's move on. 17. Do we sell it at 16,000 going once? 16,000 going twice? Fine. Oh, 17,000. There we go. That is the spirit. 17,000. Can we take it for 20? Can we take it for 20? We have 20,000 rand, ladies and gentlemen. 20,000 rand going once. 20,000 going twice. Last call. Sold. There we go. A beautiful painting towards a very amazing cause, ladies and gentlemen.
$20,000. Thank you very, very much. Extremely generous. Do I hear 21,000? 21,000? Thank you very much. Okay, now we'll be handing over. You want to do, is this for a pledge line?
No, this is for the auction. This is for the pledge.
These are for the pledge, okay. You'll be receiving pledge forms, so please, any amount for a succulent. 500 upwards. We can give them a discount, $4.99.
We can, whatever amount.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
You can, if you want to pledge, pick your plant up and then pledge. No problem. Okay, now I'll be handing over to Brother Inayat Wadi, who will come up here and introduce himself as a representative of Salam Media, give you an overview of what Salam Media is all about. And then, of course, he will be doing the honors of introducing Dr. Gilbert as well. Thank you very much. Oh, okay. Kauthar and Zainab, can you guys come up, please? We've just been given permission to auction the other item that we have here. Which other item is it? Mariam, Afsa, which other item do we have? Also, we have this frame here as well. They said we should do it. All right, you can sit here. Sit here. Yeah. Dr. Gilbert has just given us permission to do one more auction, right? Because remember, please, that all these funds will be given to Salam Media, and these funds will be going to purchase medication and medical equipment. It's very, very important. Inayat will elaborate on that, okay? Okay. Well, what you guys want to do? While he's setting up, you can do an auction. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Thanks.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. While Dr. Gilbert is setting up, on behalf of Salam Media, obviously it gives us great pleasure to be here in Pretoria. And we'd like to thank the organizers, the Pretoria Muslim Women United and South African Friends of Palestine, for arranging this afternoon's event in partnering with us right here at Salam Media. Now, I purposely picked this little plant as I got on the stage. And this plant has got a name. This plant has got a name, Hala al-Zanin, 1 year old. Now, this is not only a plant. This is not only a statistic. This is a life. This is a 1 year old child who had a dream. This is a child who wanted to be loved, who wanted to be nurtured, who wanted to do something in life. And this 1 year old child never got this chance. And it's not only about this 1 year old child. There are many more in the wombs of their mothers, in an incubator, not even getting out of ICU. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is a life that was taken. And right here on stage, we see 250 of these lives amongst the thousands that have been killed, that have been brutally murdered already. And this is what you and I need to think about. And being in the media, it's difficult for us sometimes. They say media people need to be objective. Media people cannot be emotional. But how can one not be emotional when we see brutality, when we see genocide, when we see a Holocaust of this nature? And this is the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, we at Salam Media, we've coined the term humanitarian journalism. And this is done for a reason, because this is our humanity. This is our contribution to humanity, to raise our voices, to raise the voice on behalf of the voiceless, and at the same time, to embrace the cause of those who don't have that voice, who are unable to be heard. And this is what we started off in 2015 as Salam Media. And we thank the Almighty, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He has given us that opportunity to be honest, to be ethical, and to provide that independent journalism, and at the same time, to amplify the voices of the voiceless, but also remaining true to our service to humanity. This we look upon as a trust, we look upon as an amana, and this, at the end of the day, will be our service to humanity, which we have committed and we have dedicated to do. And at the same time, we cannot stay silent. We cannot stay silent against the carnage, the brutality, the genocide, the Holocaust that is unfolding. And we've taken on this responsibility, and this is the reason why we have brought Dr. Gilbert to South Africa. A few months ago, we brought Dr. Abir Zayad, an archaeologist out of Al-Quds, out of Jerusalem. But at the same time, as independent media, we also send a very, very strong, a very, very powerful, a profound message to mainstream media. Because what we've seen throughout what has been taking place in Gaza, this is not media we're talking about. We've heard about weapons of mass destruction during the Iraq war. The media, the mainstream media, the CNN, the BBCs, right across the entire world, these are weapons of mass deception, because this is exactly what they've been doing. They've been deceiving us. We've seen lie after lie. We've seen how these lies have been debunked from the time the 40 babies story surfaced. That was debunked. Then we heard about Hamas, their projectiles hitting their own hospital. We heard about Hamas holding human shields in Al-Shifa hospital, and it was found that this was a Mexican-Israeli actress. So we see this happening all the time. And this is the reason why we see this systematic carnage taking place, supported by the media. This is not only about the brutality of the Zionist regime. This is not only about the world leaders who have supported the Zionist regime. This is about a media that has promoted this genocide to the extent that politicians, we've seen what had happened in Parliament, in the National Assembly, when our minister, the Minister of DIRCO, International Relations Minister, Dr. Naledi Pandor, she was questioned, and who was it? It was the Freedom Front Plus. He had the nerve to question her about the fake story surrounding the 40 babies. And she gave him a beautiful answer. And this is what politicians that are aligned to the Zionist regime have also bought into. This is what the general public has actually bought into as well. And that is why I'm saying we've got a huge responsibility. And not only looking at media, not only looking at independent media like Salam Media, we've got social media. We've got it in the palms of our hands. And our advice is let us use it properly. Let us use it wisely. Let us go with the truth. Let us not fall for fake news. And this is very, very important. And this is why Salam Media, having Dr. Mads Gilbert here is so important to debunk those lies. And I'm sure when you see this presentation, when Dr. Mads Gilbert gets on stage, when he takes you through his entire presentation, which he has done in Joburg, which he has done in Durban, you will see for yourself as to what media truly is all about. And this is the reason why we are saying support in the independent media. We are here, obviously, for a cause to bring Dr. Mads Gilbert here, but we've also got a fundraiser, and I must say that the Pretoria community has been generous. We know Abdul Kader, or Uncle KK, as everybody knows him, Hafsa, the Pretoria Muslim Women's Group, and everybody else in Pretoria. We've seen the generosity of the people of Pretoria, and I am sure you will be digging very, very deep in your pockets, because this is the challenge of our time. Gaza and Palestine is not about a nation. Gaza and Palestine is about a cause. Gaza and Palestine is about humanity. And this is humanity that we will embrace. We've seen it right across the four corners of the world, where we've seen in every corner of the world, we've seen protests, we've seen people come out in their millions right across the entire world. And what it has done is galvanized the entire world to support one single cause. We heard about the New World Order, but Gaza will be determining, inshallah, the New World Order. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome Dr. Mads Gilbert. And I must say, he's been phenomenal throughout this entire tour. And also through his years of experience working with the people of Gaza at the Al-Shifa hospital. He's done tremendous work, and the timing couldn't have been better to get somebody like Dr. Mads Gilbert with us. Dr. Gilbert, over to you.
Yep. Assalamu alaikum. Good to see you all. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for on this afternoon. Can you hear me? Is the sound okay? I think a little bit more volume, my brother. Ooh. I'm a very peaceful, and I'm a terrorist. And I'm a kind terrorist because I believe that people have the right. Can you fix it? Can you tune the sound so everyone can hear me? Okay. Can you hear me in the back? That's okay? Yeah. So I said I am a peaceful person. I'm a terrorist because I support people's right to resist occupation. I support people's right to resist colonialism. And I come to South Africa not to preach, but to learn. To learn about your great struggle against apartheid and to learn how you manage to achieve what we want to achieve for the whole world. That is equality, freedom, respect, and unity among people. And that's what we want the Palestinian people also to enjoy. And I'm extremely honored to meet you, to meet your leaders, to meet all the organization involved, the Solidarity Movement, the BDS movement, and of course the local organizers. This is the back of my t-shirt that I use almost all the time now. It says in Arabic, Kuluna Gaza, and that means we are all Gaza now. And I think we all subscribe to that. And Gaza now is, of course, extremely difficult. It's hard, but Gaza exists. The colonizers, Hello? Are you okay? Did I lose my battery or Ish Malaki? What's the problem? Ish Malaki, Bibi, Ishfi. We can go on like this. We should have had a break so everything could cool down a little bit. Listen, are you fixing it? Are you fixing it, the sound? Okay, you can, but it's breaking out all the time. Sorry. I want. Okay, anyway, to move. I should stay here. But I want to talk to the friends there and the friends there. This is how technology restrains us. Even if I'm standing still, there is a huge echo. We need to take out the echo. Okay? Gaza exists and Gaza resists and Gaza fights for life now as we are sitting here. Today, as you may have seen, they have been bombing again in the refugee camps and killing hundreds. They've been bombing like crazy in Khan Yunis, which they have claimed to be a safe place. 47% of the killed Palestinians in Gaza during the last 2 weeks have been killed in the south, which was declared a safe place. Gaza will not give up. I've been working in Gaza for the last 20, 25 years. I've been working with the Palestinians since 1981. I traveled first time as a young anesthesia doctor to Beirut, and I was there during the fight against Israeli invasion in 1982. I have learned from the Palestinian people that I shall never give up. And I have learned that there will be victory, there will be a free Palestine. Learn from your, when he said that no power on earth can stop an oppressed people determined to win their freedom. He said that in 1962. Very wise words. And I think I'm going to throw and only talk without the microphone. What do you think? Do you have a handheld microphone? Something else that I can use? This is good for nothing. Okay. Panic on the sea. My friends, this is Gaza 23. You've all seen these pictures. Unfortunately, I have to be here today. I wouldn't have been here because I have been in Gaza. And I tried immediately when they started Can you talk instead of me? You know, when you are in a very bad place, there are two things which really helps. It's very bad humor that makes you laugh, you know, even if it's stupid humor. And it is to not be alone, to be together with somebody. Gaza 2023, extreme attacks, extreme bombing, extreme killing. I will come back to that. But this is one of the many pictures which shows two things, depending on the eye you look at it with. It can show suffering and misery, but it can just as well show power, solidarity, love, and resistance. Because these people do never give up. The patient doesn't give up, the doctors will not give up, the healthcare providers will not give up, the family will not give up, because they know that they will win and they know it will cost them sacrifices. So, my friends, you are needed now. And we gathered here today not to listen to me, but to find out what can each one of you do. Because the enemy is mighty, the enemy is strong, the enemy has power, the enemy has the media, the enemy has the weapons, the enemy has all the lies. But we know better, and we are the majority. We are the majority. How many demonstrations have you seen around the world in favor of Israel? There was one in Washington, and that sort of like stupid fascists, all of them, shouting, no ceasefire, no ceasefire. What kind of people are they? You know, how dumb can you be? How far away from history can they be? And they have a president, with all due respect, who looks like an idiot. He speaks like an idiot. He walks like an idiot. And when he's going to say something, he says like, I think we have to be careful about the hospitals in Gaza, after he's been bombing them for 5 weeks. So we have a mighty enemy, and then we need to be strong. So I am Dr. Gilbert. I come from a small country called Norway. I work for a small NGO called Norvac. And I've been doing medical solidarity work with the Palestinians for the better part of 40 years. I have been a doctor for 50 years this year, and I will continue to fight for the Palestinians. Gaza is many things. Gaza is beauty, Gaza is love, Gaza is hospitality, Gaza is Palestine. I love Palestine. I love Gaza. It's my second home. There is nowhere in the world you feel more welcome. Nowhere. And I teach my young doctors in my university hospital, which is far north. I teach them about the lack of food and the malnutrition and how bad it is because of the siege. And every time I've been to Gaza and worked, I come back 2 or 3 kilo fatter. And they say, hey, Dr. Mads, you talk about all this famine and all this lack of food and malnutrition, and you come home fat like a pig. What happened? And I say, there is one thing you don't know about, and that is Palestinian hospitality. They will rather eat grass themselves than not serving the guests the best food on earth, like a maklube or anything extremely nice. So if you want to find true love, true humanity, true solidarity, true collective solutions on any trouble on earth, you should go to Gaza and learn from them through their resistance and their sumud, which I come back to. This is my brand new Twitter account. I made it together with some friends in Cairo a week ago, 2 weeks ago. It already has 15 million people looking at it. So take a note. That's where we produce all the news, and we put in a lot of news there. These are my most beloved children, except for my 2 own daughters and my 4 grandchildren, of course. These are the children of Gaza. I see them every time I go there. I go to Gaza 2 to 3 times per year. And I always go and visit the families that I have been happy to treat or to take part in the treatment of the children who have been wounded. So this is in Zaytun, and I'm visiting Jumana Samuni, and these are her neighbor friends. Despite hardship,
Despite war, despite killing, they smile, they greet me with friendship and with warmth. They do not resort to hate. They do not allow themselves to hate the white man, even if they can think that there is another colonialist, there is another oppressor, there is another Orientalist. No, they trust me, and I love meeting them. Gaza 2023 is the end of, or not the end, but it is the status quo after 16 years of siege. 16 years of brutal Israeli siege, and 5 large military attacks during these 16 years. The attack in 2006, 2009, 2012, 2014, and 2021. And I was there during all of them except 21, because then we were not allowed in. This is Amal Samouni. She was nearly killed in 2009. Her father was killed in a brutal massacre in Zaytun, where the Israelis killed around 40 members of the Samouni clan when they bombed a warehouse full of people, knowing that the warehouse was full of people. Another massacre, 2009. She has grown up with 2 Israeli shrapnels in her brain, a mother who is a widow, and many other members of her family being killed. But she is a beautiful person. She has mothered 2 children, and she is very close to my heart. And I've been very worried about the Samouni family, because I haven't heard from them during the last 3 weeks. And right now, I got a message while I was sitting back there and preparing from her brother, her younger brother. And he said that they had evacuated or fled to the south, and that all the men in the family had been arrested, and they didn't know where they are. Her mother, the widow, who is a very stable, very strong Palestinian woman, has broken completely down. They suspect she has a heart failure. There is no medical system that is working, and they are extremely scared of what will happen to their family. So for many of those people who have already experienced occupation and death, this situation they have now is worse than ever, worse than ever. But they survive, and Gaza, as I said, it's beauty, it's love, it's laughing, it's good Arab life, it's good Palestinian life. I took this little video. All the pictures I show you I've taken myself when I was running along the beaches, the 45-kilometer long beach to the Mediterranean, and I met this little group of children that were enjoying the sea. Where's the sound, my friends? Where is the sound? Ish Malaki. So anyway, this is the beach, and they are playing, and they try to find some joy being under siege. All of these children, it's like ketchup. It's either nothing or too much. And mind you, Gaza has more than 1 million children. The average age is 18 years. 65% are below 24. And they have been living, anyone younger than 16 years have not seen freedom at all. Not at all. They have only seen siege, poverty, lack of food, lack of possibilities to travel, and lack of human security. So Gaza is massive unemployment, massive poverty, very huge medical needs, and this was before October 2023, and a de-education, because the Israeli government also denies the Palestinians the right to travel and educate. But as you see, those wonderful kids, Gaza is resilience, Gaza is love, Gaza is resistance. You know the word sumud in Arab? Anybody? Yes, you do, madam? Sumud means steadfastness. It means to be strong, to not give up, and it's part of the Palestinian psyche. It's part of their mentality, part of their virtues. You know, you have sumud because you are Palestinian, and Palestinians with sumud, they will never ever give up. And they have solidarity, and they have hope. So I make these letters bigger because that's what I want to reinforce. I do not want to portray the Palestinians as suffering, as weak, as beggars, because they are not. They are strong, and they are showing us what it means to fight colonialism now and to fight apartheid now. I think the Palestinians today are the teachers of the world when it comes to dignity, when it comes to patience and endless resistance. You know the map, Gaza is very small. It's 45 kilometers long. And then there is one entrance in the south called Rafah. There is no border around Gaza. There is no border around Israel. You know that. There is no international recognized border for the state of Israel, nor is there any border around Gaza. Make sure you don't use that word. It's a fence, it's a barrier, and Rafah is correctly called a crossing, not a border station. And then there was one entry in the north from Erez. That's where I usually travel in. And you need a permission from the occupiers to get into Gaza, and I used to get a permission for 6 months at a time, as long as they think it's smart to have me there to do the work that they should have done, namely to build up healthcare. Now Erez is gone completely, and nobody gets into Gaza. Nobody gets into Gaza. Nobody gets into Gaza. Nothing gets into Gaza. A few truckloads, nothing. Normally, during periods of non-bombing, the average need to supply Gaza was 300 to 400 trucks per day. You've seen that number. Now there has been 5 weeks without trucks. There is a backlog of at least 15,000 trucks of food, flour, sugar, whatever you can produce in Gaza, and they're sending in 10, 12 trucks, and they are trying to fool us to think that they are providing humanitarian help to Gaza. They are not. And every single truck has to travel from El Arish, which is down here in Egypt, and it has to travel down here to Khmer Shalom, which is the Israeli entry point to Gaza, down here, and there, and there, and there. You know what they do there, the Israelis? They go through every box of supply and pick out what the Palestinians are not supposed to have. Before, earlier days, they would pick out spaghetti. Palestinians were not supposed to have spaghetti or jam because they're going to live a miserable life. You know what they pick out from the relief supplies? They pick out anesthetic drugs. They take out every single vial of anesthesia. Why? Because the Palestinians are not going to have pain relief when they have surgery from the bombs, from the injuries, from the horrific injuries they have sustained during the bombardment. So 16 years, the white world, the North, have allowed Israel to strangulate Gaza with more than 1 million children, and it has had some very dire consequences. Here I'm driving from the north of Gaza the other year, and you can read the numbers yourself. Mind the unemployment, 63% of young people are unemployed, more than half of the families needing food assistance, 11 hours of power cut per day before this last attack, 78 to 98% of the water undrinkable, and 2 cancer patients have been dying every day in Gaza because of lack of cancer treatment. Because the Israelis, they don't think that Palestinians should have radiation therapy. They don't think they deserve that. So there is no radiation therapy in Gaza. And if you are a woman with breast cancer in Gaza, you will have a 5-year chance of surviving, which is only 62%. In Norway, 97, 98%. In Israel, 98, 97%. So barely a little bit more than half of the women in Gaza with cancer will only survive the 5 years, first 5 years, because the Israeli restrictions on cancer treatment. It's organized evil, it's medical apartheid, it's systematic oppression, of course, but it is also a very detailed way of making the Palestinian people suffer. And I call actually the Israeli siege on Gaza sadism. because it is sadism. It's not only to combat an enemy, somebody you don't like or you argue with. It is to bind up that person and then push needle into you. It's torture. It's sadism. I'll show you some examples. It's worse than you ever believed. Gaza is life and Gaza is death. Now, 3 pictures. To the left, a tomato farmer. In the middle, the kids you saw. And to the right, Amal Samuni, who survived with 2 shrapnels in her brain. Why do I have the picture of the tomatoes? Because banduras in Arab, tomatoes, the best tomatoes in the world are grown in Gaza. Very nice tomatoes. They export. They had a large export to the West Bank and to Israel and to the world. And you know what the Israelis are doing? They demand, because this is a farmer, this is a tomato farmer, and he called me and he said, Dr. Mats, come here. I have to show you this little bag. You see the little bag with green things in? You know, what do you call it? The stilk, the little green thing? The Israelis will not allow Palestinian tomato farmers to export their tomatoes with that green thing on. They have to remove it. You know what happens when you remove that from the tomato? It cracks and it rots much, much faster. It's actually destroying the tomato. I guess the women knew that. The men, they don't know about tomatoes, but that's fine. So why on earth would they demand the farmers to take away that little thing? Do you think you can make rockets out of that? Are you afraid of being thrown tomatoes at? What is it? It's evil. It is to make them suffer. It is to destroy the little farming they can do and the little income they can have. So that's one of my points about this systematic sadism. What is this? What is this? Is it Cape Town 1962? No. It's Eres 2023. In February, I was there. You know what this is? These are workers from Gaza who are waiting in line to be controlled in Eres. This is the Israeli cross point with a fascist system to control. They are not allowed to bring bags, and they are waiting to be allowed to go to West Bank or to Israel to do day work. They have to get up 4 o'clock in the morning to reach the workplace, and they're getting home, late in the evening. Most of them will stay a whole week where they have their work as very poor workers. What is this? This is apartheid. This is total apartheid. And if you're Palestinian and you're going to cross that crossing point, they have very, very strict lists of what a Palestinian can bring if you are going out. Now, imagine you're a young doctor, you've been allowed to go for a training course in Amman. So you're going out and you're going over the King Bridge, and then you go to Amman. You're going to have a good time there for 2 weeks. And here is the list of what you are allowed to have and not have. So Palestinians in Gaza going out, they are not allowed to have everything that is on this list. What is allowed is 1 bag or 1 backpack, but they are not allowed to have bags with wheels on, because they are going to drag it over. And when you see an old grandma following her grandchild for radiation therapy in Al-Quds, in Augusta Victoria Hospital, and she has a bag which is this big because she needs to take the diapers and everything for her grandchild to follow her to treatment. And she can barely lift it. And you see these Israeli soldiers standing like this with their big rifles and just looking at her and laughing at her. Inside this Eres checkpoint. Look at that list. You can have 1 charger wire, but you cannot have your power bank. You cannot have toothpaste. Look at all this. So they have to buy all of this when they get out. You can not have your laptop, your camera, and only 2 pair of shoes. What is this? It's sadism. It's only to make people's life miserable and to make sure that they know who the rulers are. You recognize it? You recognize how the whites were treating you? This is precisely the same, just much more evil. And I agree with Mandela, of course, when he says that, no, your freedom is incomplete. Our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinian people, of course. And we cannot rest until we have solved this. Israel denies medical training. 98% of Palestinian doctors and postgraduates who wants to go abroad for medical training is denied permit to go abroad. And now they also bombed the universities. They bombed Al-Azhar Medical University, where I teach, where I've been teaching for 20 years. A beautiful new building. They bombed it. Why? Because they don't want the Palestinians to educate. They don't want them to have a state. They don't want them to have any structure. They don't want them to be knowledgeable. And you know that the Palestinian people have always been the most educated people in the Middle East. The Israelis hate it. The best doctors, some of my absolutely best students and research fellows are Palestinians. So you can go on like this. The siege has been horrible. I met Amal again in June when I was in Gaza. We sat and talked about the siege. We didn't talk about upcoming wars because we can't stand talking about that because we get so sad. And I asked Amal, so how are you doing? Isn't it hard? And she said, Dr. Mats, life has to go on. Life has to go on. And now I don't know if they will survive. And they are among the 2.2 million people who are, as we are sitting here, warm and nice. They don't have water, they don't have food, they don't have shelter, they don't have security, and they don't have anyone outside of us, the Solidarity Movement, to support them. That's not true, because the majority of the world support them. The streets are supporting them. The rulers are not supporting them. And the only thing they ask for, these beautiful people, here are 2 cancer patients, and Amal, and Sohail, who is the leader of Palestine Children Relief Fund, and his beautiful daughter, Nada, who is a dentist. And here is Jumana Samuni, who lost her father and her hand during the bombing in 2009. And here is Amal, as I told you about. And the only thing they say when I ask, what should I bring you? I sent an SMS to Sohail, the guy down here to the right, and I asked him, what should I bring you when I'm coming, when I was going there in June? And he said, can you bring some freedom, please? Can you bring some freedom, please? A little background. And then comes October 2023, and let me give you some scientific numbers just to make you updated, and please take notes because you need to know these numbers. This is documentation from WHO that came out the 14th of November, 3 days ago, 17th today, right? 18th maybe, but it's a few days ago. It's summing up in very scientific numbers. You know, this is the growth of wounded, this is the growth of killed day by day, these are the graphs, injuries by age, fatalities by age. Everything is there. Everything is in every foreign ministry in the whole world, in the West. They have these numbers. They know it. They know what's going on day by day. They know. They can't lie. They can't say we didn't know. They can't say what the Europeans said in 1945, 46. We didn't know about the gas chambers. We didn't know that the Germans were killing the Jews. They knew, and they did nothing. They know even more now. And look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. So far, they have killed 12,000, and out of them, 50% are children. The Israeli occupation army has killed, in 5 weeks, 6,000 Palestinian children. They are killed and missing. 6,000 children in 5 weeks. Never, ever forget that number. Never. And they have wounded 28,000 Palestinians. 28,000 people in 5 weeks. This is a systematic industrial killing machine. It's like when you see the Israeli green bulldozer starting to take down Shifa. It's systematic, it's industrialized. Who did that before? The Nazis did that. The gas chambers were made by engineers, they were well organized, and it was a very high productive industry to kill the Jews. Repeated here. I'm not saying that Jews are bad. Of course I don't. I'm not an anti-Semite. Don't you dare call me a racist. Don't you dare call me an anti-Semite. But I'm against Zionism, and I'm against apartheid. And don't you dare deny me the right to fight against Zionism and apartheid, which is a totally other thing than not be happy with the Jews. Many of my best friends are Jews, by the way. So 40,000 Palestinians have been either killed or wounded in 4 to 5 weeks. 40,000. That's 10,000 Palestinians per week for 4 to 5 weeks. Remember that number. And these are numbers from WHO. And they look like something. They have names. They have wounds. They have relatives. They have sisters and brothers. And they have pain. And the Israelis are, as I said, careful to take out all anesthetic drugs. I have not made that up. I heard that from a high-ranking source in UN who was one of those who knows about how the mechanism is to get relief into Gaza. Why is that not written about in the news? It's only written this false rumor that the Palestinian doctors are doing surgery without anesthesia. That's a total lie. Of course they don't. No doctor would open an abdomen or a chest or do a cesarean section without surgical anesthesia. They are lacking local anesthesia, but that's a totally different thing. You can wash a wound, you can fix a fracture, you can make some small sutures without local anesthetics. It's a little bit painful, but you can take that. That's not the point. They are saying actually, and it's part of the Orientalism, it's part of the way they try to portray the people in the global south, they do big surgery without anesthesia, and they can't count because we don't trust their numbers. All of that is false and lie. But every one of these 40,000, they have a name, they have a face, they have feelings, and they have losses. And I want to just give you some few more numbers. This is a graph we found on the net. It's every little child here amounts to 6,000, and you are this little one if you were one of the 6,000 killed children. But the heroes are, of course, the health workers of Gaza. And I've been working with them since 2006, and I never stop admiring them. They are relentless in their support. They are the heroes. They never give in. They never give up. They never leave their patients or their people. I think we should give them a big hand because they are the true heroes. And please, 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 never ever call me a hero because I am no hero. These are the heroes, and I'm sick and tired of this portraying that when some white, blue-eyed, blonde guy comes down, then he is a hero. I know the well-meaning of it, but it's part of colonialism. It's part of the Orientalist thinking that they can't manage themselves. Oh, we have to send Doctors Without Borders, or we have to send Red Cross, or somebody with some tents and some nice vests and jackets, and they're white and blue and blonde, and they can fix everything. That's a lie. These are the people who are fixing everything. They are all alone now, and they fix it. I'll show you how they fix it. They fix it because they are the experts. This picture I took a late night in 2014. We had been operating all night. It was Ramadan. Of course, they were fasting, and of course, I fasted because, well, I'm not a Muslim, but I could not, of course, disrespect my brothers and sisters, and that was a new experience to fast through bombardments. But you can see how exhausted they are and how drained they are, and still they do not give up. Nor do they that in 2023. Here you can see them. Hospitals, not only Shifa, all the hospitals overcrowded with two groups of people. Number one, the wounded and their families. And number two, of course, as you have heard, the refugees, the internal displaced who have been seeking shelter. In Shifa, how many internally displaced people have been seeking refuge in Shifa? Do you know the number? Nah, 50,000 people. 50,000 people, and that's why it looks like this. I'll take you through it. And you can imagine your Steve Biko academic hospital here. Imagine that beautiful hospital, built for compassion, built for evidence-based medicine, built for the best quality medicine in the world. That's Shifa. That's the University Hospital in Gaza. It has all departments. The doctors and nurses are top-notch. They're at the level and higher level than in my university hospital. You have that beautiful hospital. Now, you encircle it with tanks. You squeeze it for 16 years. You let all equipment wait. You don't let people go out and do postgraduate training. You don't let them have medicines. You don't let them have, everything you need to maintain a hospital. Then you cut all the electricity to Steve Biko Hospital. Then you cut the water to Steve Biko Hospital. Then you cut the supply of medicines and IV fluids. And you cut the supply of bandages. And then you call the hospital director and you say, get all the patients out because we're going to bomb you. Okay? And then they do that. They bomb around and suddenly they shoot artillery shells into the walls of the maternity department. And you just don't believe it's possible. And the hospital, Steve Biko Academic Hospital, is filled with 50,000 refugees from all over who are scared, thirsty, hungry, and they have 2,000 patients. They have 700 beds, but they have 2,000 patients, most of them need some sort of pretty advanced medical support and surgery and treatment. And then you call them. Then somebody calls them, some fascist calls them and say, you have 1 hour to empty the hospital because now we are coming in. And you stand there and you think, I can't hear. Where is the world? Where on earth is the world? Is it true that they are doing this to us and nobody out there, nobody from any European government, nobody from the UN, nobody from Canada, from Australia, from the US is coming to our assistance and saying, you don't do that in 2023. Nobody. You know what my friends in Gaza most have sent to me, my colleagues that I worked with for more than 20 years? Mostly they have sent, Dr. Mats, we are being massacred slowly and actively, and nobody lifts a finger to stop it. The world has turned their back to us. So we need to 10-double our activity, my friends, my brothers and sisters, my beloved compatriots. What is needed now? It is solidarity, activism, and concrete action. It's all very well what you feel about this. But what are you going to do about it? 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 It's not enough to sit at home and feel sad and helpless from what you're watching on the television screen. Yeah, I agree, it's horrible. But you have to get up in the morning and you have to ask yourself, which 3 things am I going to do actively for Gaza today? And if all of you do that, we have maybe 30,000 good deeds here, right here. That will be the drops that hollow the stone, and every one of you can change the world. But if we are overwhelmed by sadness and helplessness, they win. They win. Do we want them to win? No. So every one of us has a responsibility, and all of us must act now, because it is not too late, but it is very late. This very morning, when I was preparing to go up here, I got a message, and it read, from Gaza this morning at 7:41. It read, as you can see, urgent. A medical source for Al Jazeera says the occupation army gives doctors, patients, and displaced people to evacuate the Shifa hospital in Gaza within an hour. This very morning. This very morning. Try to imagine you've been in that hospital for 5 weeks. You've been shit scared. Your family's in the south. You don't know if they will survive. You are so thirsty that you scream. The patients are actually screaming in Shifa now. I heard that yesterday. And it's patients everywhere, all over. All of them are infected. You can't wash your hands. The stench from the bodies, the dead bodies, the martyr bodies that have not been buried is everywhere. And actually, the occupation soldiers are inside Shifa this morning. And what you do then? What does it look like? I'll show you. I'll show you. So just after I got that message, I got this message and a video, which is from this morning. I wanted to take a very close look. We have sound, please. I'll play it once more with sound, okay? I'll play it once more for you. I don't know what you see in this little video. What I see is a very dignified group of people who are helping each other, who are standing by each other, who are not running away. All of those who could walk could have run away. They stay, they carry, they care. And you see all these patients lying on the floor with wounds, some dying, obviously. And this is 2023, on this very day. The Israeli army is inside. The Israeli commanders, Netanyahu and Joe Biden, they want this. Why should you empty a hospital? Hospitals are temples of care and love in every society. In Delhi, in Oslo, in Kathmandu, in whatever, Gilbert, whatever. Hospitals are the symbol of that, the symbol that shows that you are not alone if you need help. And it is a place for compassion for any people, any race, any religion. Why would the Israelis take down the hospitals? Do you have an answer? To kill hope, yes, I agree, to kill hope. I agree, absolutely, and I think they do it because they want to erase any sign of Palestinian infrastructure in Gaza. Because they want to reoccupy, they want to occupy Eretz Israel. They want to take Gaza, they want to take the West Bank, they want to push the Palestinians into Jordan and into Sinai. And Eretz Israel, the wet dream of the Zionists since 1848, is now becoming reality. It is just beyond belief. But don't look at the suffering only. I also got this one from Dr. Ahmed, who I know. And Dr. Ahmed posted this morning at noon, and he says, I, along with 5 other doctors, will stay at Al-Shifa Hospital with 120 patients, as patients cannot leave due to their health condition. We call the ICRC and WHO to take action to protect the medical staff and patients at Al-Shifa Hospital. Dr. Ahmed, we love you, Dr. Ahmed. We give you a big hand. You stay there. You don't go. You don't go. I say again, these are the heroes and the nurses and the mechanics and the janitors and the ambulance paramedics. They have to kill them in order to stop their work. I wish I was there, but I'm here because they don't want us in, because they don't want our eyes and our tongue or speaking or communication at all. They want to silence Gaza completely. So to sum up, the Israeli occupation forces systematically attacks healthcare. They attack schools, universities, and everything that is connected to the Palestinian people. They kill, and destroy everything. 2023. We have to stop them. Who's next? Who is next if they get away with this? And they're talking, I read on the internet, they are talking about bombing Jordan. No, they're talking about bombing Lebanon and bombing Egypt, I read. So, I mean, all these dreams of colonialism have come up again. We can conquer. What we see in Gaza is well known from the history of colonialism. It is the politics of elimination. You occupy, you invade, you colonize, and then you kill the locals. This is what they do. This is the politics of elimination. It has nothing to do with Hamas. I'm sick and tired of hearing Hamas. This is the Palestinian resistance. I fully support the Palestinian resistance with all their arms, fully. I don't support Hamas or Jihad or PFLP or Fatah or PA. I, along with the Norwegian Solidarity Movement, we support the Palestinian people and their right to resist occupation with arms, as is anchored in international law. It's just the same as the Ukrainian people fighting the Russian invasion with arms, heavily supported by the West. I don't have to repeat that story about the double standards. If you ask someone, if somebody asks you, oh yeah, you support Hamas. No. I don't have to support Hamas. I support the resistance. I don't use the word Hamas anymore. I'm so sick and tired of people saying Hamas, 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 as if that gives you the freedom to kill anyone. Oh, you're Hamas, or you're a Jew. I'll kill you because you're a Jew. Like they said in 45 and 42 and 41. We put a yellow star on you and then we can kill you. We can gas you. Have they learned nothing from history? Nothing. They have not, because they are of the same breed, I think, when it comes to politics. And I think this use of Hamas is very important to consequently all the time talk about the Palestinian resistance and don't talk about Hamas. I mean, I work elegantly together with Hamas, I'll show you. So, the reason why we don't support any internal political movement in Palestine, it is, it's just like for you. It's up to you to choose your leaders. It's up to you to find the strategies during, the struggle against apartheid. Who was I to come from Norway and say that, I don't think you should use the arms. I think you should have some peaceful demonstrations. They tried that, the Long March of Return, and they were killed and shot at like never before. So it's not only Shifa, because it's all been about Shifa. Have a look at this report. It came the 14th. It's the same report I referred to from WHO. These are the numbers of hospitals in Gaza that have been put out of function. We start to the left here. The yellow ones are partially functioning hospitals. The gray ones are not functioning hospitals. And it starts on the 8th of October and it ends on the 15th of October. Have a look at that graph. Can you see how they have consistently, day by day, they have been destroying hospitals and closing down hospitals? So they started, when this attack started, there were 36 hospitals in Gaza on October 8th. 34 were partially functioning, 34. And then through bombing, through squeezing, no fuel, no electricity, no supplies, more bombing, they ended up a few weeks later with 9 functioning and 27 not functioning. They have actually closed down, bombed, forced to close 27 hospitals, day by day. As the world leaders, as the whole, I'm going to be nice with my words, I want to swear so much, the whole EU bunch, they have been sitting looking at this number. And the fact of these numbers, my friends, that is that the Palestinian people right now, the 2.2 million people, they don't have healthcare. They have destroyed the infrastructure of Palestinian healthcare. They keep working, they keep treating, they keep lying on the floor to trying to find a solution, the doctors and the nurse. But this is a systematic attack, planned and executed by the Israeli government, supported by the United States, in order to inflict suffering on the Palestinian people. These hospitals have no military function. They've been saying, I've been asking in all interviews, have you seen Hamas command center in Shifa? And I told one BBC journalist, I don't want to talk to you. Are you so stupid that you spend my time on discussing this? Why don't you do your homework before you call me? No, we haven't seen a center. No, there is no center. They went in now. What did they find? They find some Hamas uniforms. By the way, they took them in themselves. And they find 2 Kalashnikovs from Hamas. Do you think Hamas are fighting with Kalashnikovs? 2023, have you seen the guns they have in the West Bank? So they bring in some boxes. It says on the label, medical supply. Did you see that picture outside Shifa? And then they take the boxes in, open them, and then they put the uniforms and the Kalashnikovs, and they start filming. Hamas Center, Hamas Center. 2 Kalashnikovs and 2 uniforms, and an Arab calendar, which they thought were the names of the Hamas leaders. I mean, how stupid can you be? How stupid can you be? And now it's all taken apart by the media, and they are falling in their own trap, I think. Okay. And this is just the same graph, just to show you this dramatic decline in number of hospitals in Gaza over a period of a little bit more than 1 month. Now they have 27 non-functioning hospitals. So let's walk through Shifa before this happened. My good friend and my respected leader, Dr. Youssef Abu al-Rish, he has been the Minister of Health in Gaza for 10 years. He's a formidable leader. I've enormous respect for him. He's a pediatrician, a very good clinician, and he's been a fantastic leader for Palestinian healthcare to develop it. This is from Shifa on the night of 7th of November.
Shameful to have such situation in a hospital while we are talking about 2023.
No light. 40,000 people. 1,000 patients. You hear the drones, Israeli murder drones, on top of the hospital. And he walks further.
It's catastrophic. Really, it's catastrophic situation.
He can barely walk between the refugees and the patients.
These are the kids. Yeah. الأرض مش هصوركم. هصور الممر. And you can. This is the staff.
And they have
working
battery lights.
while there is no electricity. They are doing their best, but unfortunately they are unable to do anything while this department is full of displaced people, and they are trying, actually they are trying with very difficult situation, trying to reach the difficult rooms where a lot of cases are inside, and we can see what is going on the ground.
I don't know what you feel. I feel helpless. I have a hard time getting out of bed these mornings. But I know for a fact that if I let myself be overwhelmed by that helplessness, as I said, they will win. So I get up and I continue to work with practical solidarity that we all can do. The healthcare workers in Gaza, they do it. They are world-class champions in improvising and finding solutions. Look at this. A nurse and a doctor. The guy doesn't have a bed. He has some wounds they need to suture, and they just find a way to do it with some good helping hands around them. Maybe it's the father who's sitting there with a bandage on his head. They're all together in it, and they're all supporting each other. I don't want to romanticize them. They don't need that, because this is true cohesiveness in a society that stands together. This is Sumud. This is the picture of Sumud. And you can see how concentrated they are. Can you see how much they concentrate to do the work in a diligent way? I think we should say masalam to the Palestinian ambassador. Are you leaving? Are you leaving? Oh, you're here. I thought you were leaving because then I wanted to have a big applause for you. Oh, you're here. You just wanted some company. You were lonely. I understand that. Palestinians always want company. They hate to be alone. And they always find some friends. Let's give a big applause for the Palestinians again. So here, this picture is just summing up what they are. They are innovative, they're smart, they find solutions, they're extremely good healthcare providers. And I have to tell you a little bit about Dr. Youssef Abu al-Rish. He's one of my very good friends, a very close friend. He's young, he's very handsome. He's a head higher than me. He's extremely strong. He's a pediatrician. He's married to a Syrian lady. They live in the south part of Gaza, a beautiful house. Every time I go to Gaza, I'm invited for dinner. I get fat, because she cooks the most fantastic meals. And we eat and we talk. And his kids are very close to me. They call me only Amomats, of course. I've known them since birth. And here we're out and having ice cream in Gaza City an evening, a peaceful evening. And his kids are very, very, very smart. And Mohammed, this young boy here, he is very, very preoccupied. The guy with the white shirt, he's very preoccupied with Dr. Mats. So last summer when we were having our goodbye ice cream party, we were sitting around the cafe table, and then Mohammed said, I have a big question to ask. And I could see his father became a little bit restless because he knew that his son is very philosophical. So Mohammed said, how is it possible that Amumat, who is such a good person, is not a Muslim? How is that possible? How is that possible? And Yusuf became a little bit, well, you know, there are even good people outside. And then, of course, Muhammad, he did the usual thing with my Muslim friends. He said, I think he's a Muslim, he just doesn't know it. And then we try to sort of iron it out by saying there are good peoples in all walks of life. There are good Christians, and there are good, you know, Baptists, and there are good Buddhists, and there are good, even good agnostics. I'm an agnostic, even them. And then his oldest sister, 16 years, she was kind of bored during the discussion, and then she said just, oh, I'm so sick and tired of this. I don't care if he's a Muslim or not. I just want to see him in paradise. So, many very warm ties, and then now it's just horrible, beyond belief. I got this from Dr. Youssef on the 8th of November. I communicate with him day and night, all the time, be it from Cairo here, and he said, this was a WhatsApp communication we had. We're still surviving, but it's miserable. There is no bread, food, or water, just essential services in the hospital most of the time. No administration due to lack of electricity. Most of our staff has not had a piece of bread for days. And he says, we try to have a minimal amount of water. He said that actually, and mind you, your water bottles, don't take them for granted. They had then, at that time, they had half a bottle of water for each healthcare worker. Cherish the water. Every time you take a water bottle now these days out of your fridge, please think about the fact that they don't have water in Gaza. Every time you open your fridge and think, what am I going to make for dinner today? Think about the fact that they don't have food in Gaza. Man-made starvation, man-made thirst. Every time you go to bed with your kids or your husband or your wife, and you take the nice, you know, cover with the clean cotton linens, please remember that 1.5 million Palestinians in Gaza are currently internally displaced and without somewhere to shelter, and many of them, maybe up to 1 million of them, do not have somewhere to sleep, which is safe, and they don't have blankets. I see you nod your head, and I think this is a very important problem. So this is the most important value you actually can bring to Gaza now, because all of you know that without water you die. And what do? They're mixing some sugar into seawater, and they're drinking seawater. 2023. So, just now, today, again, I'm not sure if I managed to say this without cracking, but the Israeli sadism was fulfilled. I got this picture on the way here in the car, and it is, I think, it is the saddest picture I've seen for a long time. This is Dr. Youssef walking south from Shifa, which means that Shifa has been occupied completely by the fascist Israeli army. And there is no more Shifa. There is no more Shifa. Are we going to accept that? No. Are we going to stand tall and tell the Palestinians we will rebuild Shifa? Are we going to say that you are not alone, and we will raise money, and we will raise energy, and we will come to you, and we will rebuild every hospital in Gaza that they have tried to destroy? Can we agree on that? Can we collect that money and get that energy? Can we get the South African government to send 5 cargo ships to the shores of Shifa of Gaza with building material, with medical equipment, with construction workers, and with cranes, and with bulldozers, and everything we need? Can we do that? I'm sick and tired of just lip service. I'm sick and tired of just waving flags. We need to be concrete now. And what could we do? You know what the Jordanian did the other week? You know, Jordan, the king of Jordan. I was invited to the Queen. Had a very nice talk, but there were very many bodyguards around, so I was very careful because they looked like they would jump at me only if I looked at her. But that was very nice. And you know what they did? They broke the siege. They took a military cargo plane from the Jordanian Air Force. They flew it into Gaza, filled with medical equipment, medical supplies, and they airdropped it with parachutes over Gaza, close to one of the hospitals. They broke the siege. They broke the siege. And the only thing, and they did not coordinate with the Israelis. The Israelis are now bragging that they coordinated with Jordan. They did not. They just informed both parties, the Palestinians and the Israelis, we're coming, we're breaking the siege, we're dropping. And that was brave. But there is a long shore, 45 kilometers. Do you have a navy? You have a navy? Couldn't, I don't know. If you have a navy, why don't send 4 or 5 naval ships filled with water and food and tents and medical teams just right up the Suez Canal into the Mediterranean and board the shores of Gaza and say, don't you dare try shoot at us because we're coming with life-saving equipment and help to the people of Gaza. We're not sitting still and letting them thirst to death. Make a joint mission with Erdogan. The Turks they're cool. You know, why not? Why should we just make petitions and talk and talk and talk and talk? We have to press our governments to do things that are substantial now. If not, there are millions of people dying in Gaza. What is badly needed today? What is badly needed today is solidarity, activism, and concrete action. Concrete action. I'm ending now. Do you feel helpless? Well, don't. Learn from Zainab. I met Zainab last night when we were in Durban. It was a beautiful meeting, lots of people, 1,200 people, and Zainab came to me before the meeting and she said, I don't know her, but she said, Dr. Mats, I have a gift for you. Look at that beautiful face. And, and Zainab said, you know, Dr. Mats, I felt so helpless. I didn't know what to do. But I am good at drawing. So I have made a book, and I want to give it to you as a gift. It is this little book. It is an absolutely beautiful book, which is called A Letter from Gaza to the World. I'll pass it around. Don't you dare steal it, and I'll come after you with some Hamas guys. And I called her up during the lecture because this helplessness is very normal. I mean, we're facing a horrible enemy. And we're sitting here in South Africa. It's easy to feel helpless. But she did something within her capacity. And we all have capacities. I'm a medical doctor. You're a pharmacist, I think. No? You're an accountant. Brilliant. Then you can raise money, account money. You're an activist. What are you?
Attorney.
Attorney. Brilliant. You can join in the ICC. You know, the accusation or whatever you call it. What do you call it? You file a claim? You file a...
I'm not sure what you...
No. If you want to take somebody to the International Criminal Court, what are you doing?
I work in client care.
You're working?
Client care.
Client care. Elegant, yes. You can... No. I mean, everyone has a capacity. Write a poem. Write a piece for the paper. What are you doing, madam?
Teaching Arabic and English and Quran.
Very good, very good. Raise your hand, those of you who, within the next 3 days, will do one concrete action within your capacity. Do one. I want to see more hands. Come on. Within 5 days, okay? It's everyone. If you do that, if you don't just try to please me, you do that, you can make a difference. Look at this book, A Letter from Gaza to the World. The drawings are beautiful. When I opened it, when I came back to the hotel, I started weeping. And I said to myself, I'm going to take that to Norway. I'm going to translate that. We're going to have that in Norwegian. Because what she did, look here, it starts with history. It starts with a perfect, you know, this map, how didactical that is. And then she goes on with a very, very, very careful but very rough description of what is going on in Gaza. We know what we think. We have read, we know history. But our kids, they need tools. And they don't need these sissy tools saying, it's a conflict and we have to find a peaceful solution. We need this for our kids. So Zainab, she did something, and I'm sure this book can be translated to many languages and can be a useful and very valuable counteraction against all the false lies and all the Zionist propaganda that our kids are surrounded by. Gaza resists, Gaza exists, Gaza will never give up, and you are needed now. Long live the friendship between the South African and the Palestinian people. Down with apartheid, down with colonialism. Long live Gaza. Gaza, Hatta Nasser, Shukran Jazilan, and be active, everyone. Thank you so much.
Long live Dr. Meds Gilbert. Long live. You are the face and the voice for Gaza, Doctor. Auntie Hafsa, can you come here, please, and do the vote of thanks? And this is, of course, the present from
the embassy to you.
From the embassy to you.
Thank you. Shukran. Shukran.
We have a little badge for you. Thank you. Dr. Metz, this is South African flag and the Palestinian flag.
I have one from 2014.
Please keep that treasure. Thank you. Hafsa, please.
If anybody wants selfies, we will have a stand over there. So anybody wants to have a chat or a stand, and we will have a little.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Jazakallah so much to everybody for being here. We really appreciate it. Dr. Meds, thank you so much for coming all the way from Norway. Dr. Meds, thank you for being here.
Sorry.
We appreciate the fact that you're here and you're sharing with us your personal experiences. I think it's touched everybody's very, very closely. We all were tearing at some stage. We want to thank Salam Media for inviting us to host you. So thank you, Salam Media. And Al Ghazali for the hall and the chairs, our Pretoria Muslim Women's United, all the women who are wearing black with these scarves, all the women who sponsored all the refreshments and did all the drinks and everything that was done in less than a week. So Dr. Mayers, like you said, we should do something. So yes, we did do something. We sold tickets. And we raised 50,000 with that.
Oh, wow.
We sold badges and we raised 50,000 with that. And what we have in front of us is really a beautiful thing. It's the names of children who have died in Gaza. And the plants that are here only represent 1% of the number of children that have been killed. So you can have a plant by donation. So the girls will be coming around and you can give them a donation and you can come and take a plant. So please help yourself to a plant. We also have pledge forms. So please complete a pledge form and our girls will come around to collect the pledge forms for you. We appeal to you, earnestly appeal to you to please make a difference because
I'm listening to her. I'm concentrating. Yes, please continue, madam.
And we'd like to thank the brigade for their entrance and also for their generous donation. So Dr. Meds, we've done a lot. We've already done a lot and we continue doing this. We've been doing it for a number of years.
Thank you so much. I know you have done a lot. This was a fantastic gathering. And guys, all the men over there, you should listen to the women. They do much more than you. They do much more than you. So listen to the women. Thank you.
Now, let me rectify that. Because without the men, we won't be able to do what we do. Because really, I pray that our businessmen continue to be blessed because they support every single fundraiser of ours. So yes to the men in our community.
I didn't mean to be divisive.
No. I know that. But I have to be honest because really, without their support, we wouldn't be where we are.
Please, can we take a photo with him? Let us take a photo.